Good evening and welcome to the Village of Tuckahoe Planning Board Meeting. Nancy, will you take the attendance, please?
Commissioner Nierenberg.
Present.
Commissioner Barra.
Present.
Commissioner Caliano.
Here.
Commissioner Gorman.
Here.
Chairwoman Chairmello.
Present. Let's begin by approval of our minutes from the April 19th, 2016 meeting.
So moved.
Second,
I actually think I was not present, so I think I will be abstaining on that one.
okay,
Second.
okay. So you second. All right. Will you take the vote, please, Nancy?
Commissioner Nierenberg.
For.
Commissioner Barra.
I wasn't present.
You were absent also, okay.
Commissioner Caliano.
I also abstained I was absent that day.
Commissioner Gorman.
In favor.
Chairman Chairmello.
In favor. Okay, on our agenda tonight, we have 6 items, and we will take them in this order. 9 Jackson Avenue, amended site plan. 100 Main Street, construction, site plan review. Number 3 will be 173 Marbledale Road, which is the garden landscaping. Number 4 will be 86 Main Street, which is a special permit for the use of a facility to teach martial arts. Number 5 will be 125 Columbus Avenue, site plan to add physical therapist office. And number 6, 8 Marbledale Road, site plan for a convenience store addition to a main building at the gas station. Okay, we will begin with 9 Jackson Avenue.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Lucenti. I'm owner of 9 Jackson Avenue in Tuckahoe, obviously. I'm here tonight to just talk about the property. A couple years back, we were approved for a site plan. We've gradually built up the property. Started with one warehouse on the right side. A couple years later, we built a office and garage on the left side of the property. The approved site plan shows parking for commercial vehicles on site. We're here tonight not to change the site plan, but rather we're going to be renting out the left side building, which is the office and garage, and they're going to occupy the same parking spaces that we already have on our existing site plan. And the right side is also basically rented on the right side also. So it's basically 2 tenants being on one property. Mm-hmm. That property has 2 buildings with an already approved site plan on it. So I'm here to ask for basically permission to have 2 tenants at one property that I own.
Okay. And the parking, you say, will be what is needed for what they do. What kinds of businesses are we talking about?
So the left side that they're going to be occupying office space for their utility company. So just as we occupied it prior, it's basically about 3 employees in the office area, and in that office underneath the garage there's 3 parking spaces for inside the garage. So the employees that are working there, just as we were prior, are going to be able to park in the garage to occupy the office space. Mm-hmm. And they'll have some vehicles parked outside, approximately 5 of the parking spaces they're going to be taking up on the outside, and we're going to let them occupy the same exact spots that were on that site plan. So there'll be really no change.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
about this?
that you kind of answered what I would have asked, which is what are the differences between the way you used to use it and the way you propose to use it now? Any other than the identities of the entity?
They're basically going to use the office space exactly as before. So their office hours was the same. It's Monday through Friday. Sometimes they're in on Saturday, but very rarely. Sunday they're closed. As for that, it's going to be the same as before.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
And your building on the right is?
The building on the right is still a warehouse where my company, Lucenti Landscaping, is the tenant on that side. And the same thing, they're going to be occupying those spaces on the right side of the building and inside the garage, and storage on the sides of the building and the back of the building.
So there'll be no parking on Jackson or Marbledale?
No.
Good.
Yep, everything will be on site.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Yes, we have a motion. I will read a motion.
You need to open the public hearing on this one.
I'm sorry.
I believe you have to.
I make a motion that we open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make comment? There being no one from the public who would like to make comment, will you take the vote, please, Nancy?
You would need to make a motion, I think, to close the public hearing.
I'm sorry, for closing a vote for closing the
So
public
moved.
hearing.
Second?
Okay.
Okay, and Commissioner Nirenberg,
For.
Commissioner Barra,
Four.
Commissioner Caliano,
Yes, close the public hearing.
Commissioner Gorman,
4.
Chairwoman Chermel.
4. Okay. I will make a motion that we approve the applicant's application.
Second.
Well,
So
all in
moved.
favor?
So moved, and then a second.
And it's seconded. Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Pursuant to regulation of seeker, this board finds that the action taken herein is an unlisted action subject to the requirements of seeker and its implementing regulations. This board is in possession of all information reasonably necessary to make the determination as to the environmental significance of the proposed site plan application. That the action taken herein shall not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and it is declared that a negative declaration is hereby adopted with regard to this action. Okay?
I think you take a vote on this one then.
Yes, we're going to take a vote on it. And Nancy, will you please take the...
Commissioner Nirenberg,
For.
Commissioner Barra,
Four.
Commissioner Caliano,
4.
Commissioner Gorman,
4.
Chairwoman Chermel.
4.
Then you
you,
should
and
have
good
the
luck.
regular.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I think you have the regular resolution on the second page of the proposed resolutions.
Don't leave yet, Dennis.
Can't leave. Okay. Following is the resolution of the Planning Architectural Review Board of the Village of Tuckahoe. Upon review of the application of Lucenti Realty LLC, and upon hearing the applicant at the work session and public hearing, the application to lease the office building with the garage under is approved. Based upon the presentation, the proposed tenant will have less of an impact on the premises in terms of usage than the current owner. Okay, do we have a second? Okay, Nancy?
Commissioner Nirenberg,
4.
Commissioner Barra,
Four.
Commissioner Caliano,
4.
Commissioner Gorman,
4.
Chairwoman Chermel.
4. Good luck.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Okay. Our next item is 100 Main Street for site plan review.
Good evening, Chairperson, Chair Mello, members of the board. Les Marin for the applicant, MC Equities LLC. At our last meeting, we had basically finished our presentation. The board had some additional concerns and items that had to be addressed by Frank Fish's office, by Jim Pinto, and by Dolph Rotfeld's office. It's my understanding that all of those matters have been addressed to the satisfaction of the consultants, and we believe we have completed all the items, and hopefully they have conveyed that to you, that we might ask you to go ahead and close the public hearing and take a vote on the matter.
Okay, can we just,
Madam Chair, just to let you know, I have received the necessary emails from the consultants and the heads saying that they're satisfied with the plans that they've received and the changes that the applicants made.
I see representatives here. Do either of you have anything to add to that?
We provided, sorry, is this on? This is Noah Levine from BFJ Planning. We provided the planning board with a memo confirming that all of the issues, the prior mentioned issues have been resolved. The one thing that's new is that a construction management be provided, and that was provided. And I'll let Jim Pinto address that. We also recommended that when they, when the developer, when the applicant makes changes to Terrace Place, that they repave Terrace Place when they're making the other changes for the bollards and whatnot, just so that can have a kind of a clean slate on that road. That was our only recommendation with regard to that.
Okay, and I've been in contact with the architect's office, and we've, to the satisfaction of the comments that I had put on place with the board, they've been all documented, codified, and put on the plans that are on file with the village, which I wanted to make sure. So everything's there. Relative to the construction management plan, the on-site controls, where the vehicles are going to be parked during parts of the construction have all been worked out. As far as the off-site parking, when in fact the full site is engaged in construction, that will be handled by the building department during that phase of the construction. It's also included in Gary's resolution with the same verbiage. And one last thing I would recommend is that the resolution and its conditions, once approved, that should be incorporated into the plans that are approved as final plans, so that the resolution becomes part of that set. Therefore, when Bill or others out in the field or even the owner's representatives, the conditions that have been agreed to are right in front of everybody so that we have a full file.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question of Mr. Levine. You referred to the fact that the applicant will repave Terrace. You just referred to that?
It's just a recommendation that we're making because they need to install the bollards and the bump out on Terrace Place to facilitate the changes that were recommended, the plan for Terrace Place.
Right.
And so it's going to require a number of structural changes, and we're recommending that the applicant repave that area when those improvements are made, just as a as a baseline. That's it.
How far up the street from Main Street?
Just at the front door of the building, the area where they're making those changes.
Only that portion? Okay, thank you.
All right. Did you have a
Well,
comment?
what I think procedurally on that, since it's the village's property, the village board would need to make that determination, but I think they can get a recommendation from this board that when the applicant gets approval for the changes to Terrace Place, when they're before the village board, that part of that would be also to pave the street that's in front of their property,
Okay.
curb to curb.
Okay, so that will be sent to the village
If
board.
that's
So
what the
there'll
board's
be
recommending, I'll pass that along to the village board. And I believe Mr. Maron's going to make an application to the village board to get those changes on Terrace approved.
Okay.
Should we go into discussion for that, or? Because I would be happy to approve as much repaving as will make the streets all look unified and smooth, rather than having patches of repavement here and there.
Right, so that would be curb to curb from, I guess, their southern part of the property to the north, which is Main Street. So where their property line is up on Terrace, all the way down to Main Street.
Only the property line?
Correct, it'll be curb to curb,
Okay.
correct.
If I may, as Mr. Gerson had mentioned, we intend to file an application with the village board to get approval to do the two-way street issue. And obviously, I'm going to be copying Frank Fish's office, the police chief, Gary, and DPW, so they'll all have notice. I assume the village board will want their input again, even though they've given input to you. So we fully intend to give them the plan, so they can certainly contact the village board again if they want to. The village board is the one that has to sign off on the paving and the changing the two-way street there.
All right, thank you.
And if this board's inclined to recommend that to the village board, I'll pass that along to the village board, that they should be doing that.
Is there any other comment?
No, that was discussion.
No, but then. Okay. Nothing in addition, gentlemen? No? Okay. We have a motion? We have a motion?
So moved.
No, let it read, to be read?
Yes.
Okay.
I think on this one, the public hearing's still open, so you may want to ask if, you
They'll
know,
get the public hearing, okay,
to continue it, and then if there's no one here, then you can
Yeah,
close the
okay.
public hearing.
okay. Okay, I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make comment? There not being anyone from the public who would like to make comment, do we have a motion, make a motion that we close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, the motion.
Okay.
It's actually a resolution.
A resolution declaring a negative declaration under the State Environmental Quality Review Act as it concerns site plan approval for the premises 100 Main Street, Tuckahoe, New York. At a regular meeting of the Planning Board of the Village of Tuckahoe, New York, held here in Village Hall on May 17, 2016. Whereas the Planning Board of the Village of Tuckahoe is considering site plan approval for the premises commonly known as 100 Main Street, Tuckahoe, New York, and whereas the project consists of the development of a site with a mixed-use building consisting of 19 residential units, 2 4-bedroom units, 6 3-bedroom units, 5 2-bedroom units, and 6 1-bedroom units. 2,643 square feet of commercial space and 37 off-street parking spaces, 29 spaces plus 8 spaces in tandem. And whereas based on the environmental assessment form, EAF, submitted by the applicant and any supplemental materials thereto, the planning board has determined that there will be no significant environmental impacts from this action as it concerns the proposed project. Now therefore, be it resolved, Section 1, based on the information included in the EAF submitted by the applicant and any supplemental materials thereto, and the criteria contained in the State Environmental Quality Review Act and its implementing regulations, the zoning board hereby adopts the attached negative declaration for this unlisted action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Section 2, this is resolution shall take effect immediately.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, that was the motion.
Oh, yeah. We have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I guess I'll.
We now go on to our next item, which is
No, I think we have-
17.
We have a resolution.
Oh, you
on-
had the resolution here. Okay,
Right.
fine.
So I'll read the planning board resolution. This applicant is the record owner of the premises commonly known as 100 Main Street, Tuckahoe, New York, and known on the tax map of the Village of Tuckahoe, Section 28, Block 5, Lots 3, 5, and 7, the premises. The applicant has received the necessary variances and special permit form, the Village of Tuckahoe Zoning Board, and has provided all documents, plans, and materials to this board, so as this board can make the proper review under Section 7-1 of the zoning code. The plans of submission of the applicant were provided to the village planner, Frank Fish of BFJ Planning, the village consultant, James Pinto, the village engineer, Anthony Oliveri of Dolph Rodfield Engineering, the chief of the fire department, Mike Rogan, the chief of the Tuckahoe Police, John Costanzo, and the head of the Department of Public Works, Frank DeMarco. All the consultants named, as well as the named department heads, have reviewed the plans, and any comments submitted have been addressed by the applicant to the satisfaction of the parties listed. There are no members of the public that have appeared in opposition of this project. Pursuant to the Village of Tuckahoe zoning code, the board must review the site plans pursuant to 7-1 of the said code. The sections of the conclusions are as follows. A, safe, adequate, and convenient vehicular and pedestrian traffic circulation both within and without the site. The effect of the proposed development on traffic conditions on existing streets. The Village of Tuckahoe's planners, BFJ Planning have reviewed the project in conjunction with the effect of the project on local traffic. We agree with our planner that there will be no appreciable increase in congestion, and the traffic volume of the profile will be very similar to the current traffic conditions. The number, locations, dimensions, and construction detail of vehicular and pedestrian entrances, exits, drives, and walkways. Vehicular access to the state, county, or village roads must also be approved by the State Department of Transportation, the County Department of Public Works, or the Village Police Department and the Department of Public Works as appropriate. The applicant has proposed a new traffic pattern on Terrace Place where vehicles will enter and exit the premises on Terrace Place. For this to occur in portion of Terrace Place must have two-way traffic. The Chief of Police has reviewed the proposed traffic pattern and is satisfied with the same. This approval is clearly conditioned upon the applicant receiving from the Village Board the permission to implement the changes proposed on Terrace Place. This board recommends to the Village Board to grant said permission to the applicant to implement the proposed improvements to Terrace Place. 3, the visibility in both directions at all exit points on site. The driver of an automobile exiting the site should have an unobstructed view of the street for that distance necessary to allow safe entrance into the traffic stream. With the new traffic pattern on Terrace Place implemented, this condition will have to be satisfied. The location, arrangement, and adequacy of off-street parking lots which shall at minimum meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The applicant has received several variances related to parking from the zoning board. This board is satisfied and concurs with the zoning board that proposed parking and the layout of the parking area is adequate. Interconnection of parking lots via access drives within and between lots in order to provide maximum efficiency, minimum curb cuts, and encourage safe and convenient traffic circulation. Again, the improvements at Terrace Place and the layout of the parking area on site will meet this requirement. The location, arrangement, and adequacy of loading areas which shall in a minimum meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance. As the retail establishments will be on ground level and face Main Street, the deliveries can either be made through Main Street or in the rear parking area. Any proposed retail establishment will need to come before the board for a site plan approval and will need to have an adequate plan for deliveries. Patterns of vehicular and pedestrian circulation both within the boundaries of the development and in their relation to the adjoining street and sidewalk system. The layout of the proposed off-street parking has been extensively reviewed by BFJ Planning and is determined by BFJ Planning that the proposed layout is conducive to proper circulation of traffic flow, and we agree. The location, arrangement, and adequacy of facilities for the physically handicapped, such as ramps, depressed curbs, and reserved parking spaces. As a condition of this approval and for the applicant to be compliant with the law, the applicant must meet every requirement of the ADA. A review of the proposed plan by the building inspector and planners have confirmed that the plans are compliant. The location, arrangement, and adequacy of landscaping within the bordering parking lots and loading spaces, which shall at a minimum meet the requirements of this zoning ordinance. Due to the location of the building, topography, there is not much of an opportunity for substantial landscaping. The applicant has proposed planters along Main Street, which will enhance the appearance of the streetscape. Adequacy of fire lanes and other emergency zones. The proposed plans have reviewed and are acceptable to the fire chief and the chief of police. The protection of the environmental quality and the preservation and enhancement of property values in the neighboring area. The proposed site is currently vacant land. Prior to the land being vacant, there were several older buildings in need of repair located at the site. We believe that proposed project will enhance a vital location in the village. The proposed project is centrally located on Main Street and the main thoroughfare through the village. The property is in in its current condition, has been an eyesore for the past 10 years. And we believe that the project will be a vast improvement to the current condition, and we believe the project will enhance the property values on the Main Street corridor. Further, the largely residential character of this project and the uses thereon will remain consistent with the neighboring properties. A quality of building and overall site design which will enhance the project and character and the property values of the adjacent neighborhood. The planning board shall evaluate the architectural features of the proposed design to determine if they are in harmony with the neighborhood, including consideration of architectural style, bulk, dimensions, materials, and the location on the site and in relation to the development on adjoining properties, a natural terrain and vegetation. The proposed building will contribute to the aesthetics and be consistent with the majority of the current buildings located on Main Street. We are satisfied with the look of the proposed building and how the proposed architecture of the building will enhance the look and feel on Main Street. The applicant has presented the board the materials and colors of the exterior and the proposed building. This board is satisfied with the materials and colors to be used. Therefore, based on the foregoing, the application for site plan is approved on the following conditions. 1, the building inspector's satisfaction with the construction plan submitted by the applicant. The building inspector shall be mindful of the parking of the construction workers off-site during construction of the building, so to not interfere with businesses on Main Street, nor the residents in the surrounding area. Further, the deliveries of materials and equipment shall only be allowed to take place during the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. weekdays. The applicant, number 2, the applicant obtain approval for the improvements to Terrace Place from the village board. And lastly, that every representation made by this board by the applicant is in condition of this approval.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Can I see that? Because I don't know what he just read.
Sorry.
We want to correct the set. Give a sec. Ready?
I'd like to consult with Gary. I need to consult with Gary. Just me.
Okay, do we have a, we'll break for 5 minutes. Second?
Second.
Okay, we will break for 5 minutes, so.
I don't know if they noted your vote on the neg deck, did they?
I believe we did. Madam Chair, I'd like to ask that the tally vote, which I believe has been taken, and I'll defer to our secretary here, our transcriber here. To reopen it, I would like to change my vote on the neg deck. Have we taken a neg deck, Nancy? I'd like to ask that it be reopened. I'd like to change my vote. I'm making a motion to reopen the vote that was taken for the resolution declaring a negative declaration for 100 Main Street.
Is this?
Well, I think what happened was, I don't know if I heard Melba speak up during the vote. I don't know if you did, Melba. So I just wanted, I think we can correct Nancy's notes saying that you had voted, you didn't say, I don't think you said anything on that.
I did not verbalize it, no.
So then I think you can just verbalize it now, saying
Right.
that you were a no vote on that, and we just leave it
So
at
then
that.
we'll withdraw the motion. Nancy, I'm asking that you take my vote and record my vote as against the resolution declaring a negative declaration. I am not in favor of it. I oppose it. Thank you.
So I think right now, going back, you need a second
On the,
on the David's motion.
All in favor? Vote.
Okay, Commissioner Nierenberg. Commissioner Barrett. Commissioner Caliano.
opposed.
Commissioner Gorman.
4.
Commissioner Chermelli.
4. Okay, we go on to our next item, which is
No, we're done with that.
173 Marbledale Road.
We're all leaving.
Well, that's all they came for, the fun part. I can't vote for that.
Good evening, Chairman Chiaramella, members of the board. David Barbuti, architect, representing Broken Bow Brewery. I was here the end of last year. We received, I believe, conditional approval for some site plan modifications. I'm back here tonight because one of the last steps was to get approval on the landscaping around the outdoor seating area. Just to revisit, it's a approximately 18 by 28 paved area for approximately 5 tables for 20 seats, and we're proposing an 18-inch border around it to delineate between the parking area and the seating area, and we propose to install boxwoods to create an evergreen hedge that envelops the seating area. They will grow to a mature height of 4 feet.
Really, the only thing you're here for are those boxwoods.
Is the landscaping correct?
Okay. And the boxwoods are expected to be blooming throughout the year?
Well, the boxwood is an evergreen species, so it will be green all year round. It's not a flowering plant.
I ask only to illuminate others.
Okay.
What size are they, they're planning?
There'll be 4-foot maximum height, so we can have visibility. I believe I have them called out for a 4-gallon, which is roughly 18 to 20 inches tall once they're planted.
Right.
So, and it takes probably, they won't be the dwarf variety, so it'll be a full variety, so probably in 3 to 5 years, they should be full height.
Right.
And then they would have to be maintained, so.
Sure, they're slow growers.
Right.
Okay, and this area is only used during clement weather, obviously.
If the weather's bad, nobody's out there.
Yeah.
There's no roof on it, there's no other,
No covering.
no. I don't know, they might put an umbrella on a table, but
No,
other
but I
than
mean,
that-
no roof
There's
or
no roof
tent
structure.
or anything like that?
That's correct, no tent.
Okay.
Nothing further.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. We'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to make comment? There being no one who, from the public who would like to make comment, do we have a motion to end the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Wait, wait.
And
Oh,
we
wait,
have
the
a vote
resolution.
now.
Yep.
Vote
Now
on
we
the-
vote, okay. Do we have a motion?
Planning Board resolution decision. The following is a resolution decision of the Planning Board of the Village of Tuckahoe, New York. Based on the submissions by the applicant and hearing the applicant at this board's work session and public hearing, the application to landscape the area around the previously approved outdoor seating area is approved. It is determined that the landscape additions to the previously approved site plan are still in conformity with the 7-1 zoning code. This board is satisfied with the placement and types of planting that the applicant will utilize.
Take a vote.
Okay. Do we have a,
Second. I second.
okay,
Commissioner Nierenberg.
discussion?
For, vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No discussion from me.
No discussion, okay. All righty. We'll go to our next item, which is 86 Main Street. This is a special permit to use the facility to teach martial arts.
Good evening. My name is Julio Rodriguez, and this is my wife, Crystal Madison. We're here to obtain a special permit to open up a martial arts school on 86 Main Street.
Madam Chair, if I may, this applicant was before the zoning board, who actually issues the special permits. They were issued the special permit last week, so they do have their special permit. There was a few conditions, and that special permit was only good for 2 years, so the applicant has to come back seeking an extension for that special permit. So the applicant is here tonight for site plan approval. You already have your special permit.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Okay, so do we have to go through all of the specifics of the zoning board approval, which was the size of the classes, the parking, the et cetera, et cetera?
Well, they implemented the same conditions as I believe this board is proposing. And those conditions are what the applicant proposed to this board, saying that how they were going to run their business. It's the same exact conditions, with the exception of it's only good for 2 years, a special permit.
Right.
So it's really site plan this board has to be looking at, which is a 7-1. And
Could you just do a quick review of those items, or, well, I have some of them written here, and then you can just add on the rest. I wrote down ahead of time. Just a moment.
I have it in the resolution,
The
too.
days you're in operation are,
6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
okay, days per week,
every day,
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
The hours of operation,
6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
parking,
Yeah.
Parking, something I'm going to add in our karate application for each student that signs up with us. It's a big requirement because Main Street is a very tough intersection, and parents are not allowed, well, I hate to say allowed, but they're not allowed to just double park and drop their kids off. That's a very bad intersection. I'll mention that in the application. Failure for them to comply with that, walking into our dojo, dropping off your kids, or at pickup, coming inside the dojo, picking up your kids. If they fail to comply to that, then we're going to have to terminate their application, only because it's such a really narrow street, and we don't want to cause any accidents or traffic congestion and such.
and no double parking.
No double parking, no.
All right. And this was, what I'm talking about, you discussed with the zoning board as well?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And breaks between classes?
There will be, did I say 30-minute breaks in between each. That way it gives the people who are leaving the class chance to get out, people coming in, they're not intermingling or crossing each other.
Okay. Are you going to be having parties?
No, too small. No parties. We'll hopefully be able to use the community center for things like that.
Okay. And are there any other
Well,
items?
and
Go.
number of students?
What do we say?
Per
I don't
class.
have,
12.
per class, 12. 12.
I did want to ask, could you just give a brief description of what your application is? What are you intending to open in that location?
Yes, we're intending to open a karate school. The name of our school is USA Gojuru Karate-Do, and this is not our first or second or third school. We're actually expanding. We have other schools in other towns as well.
Do you bring an established clientele with you?
Yes, actually, we do have clientele that are going to stay in their location where they are now in Riverdale, but we're also planning on, a lot of them are coming over here as well, and we're also planning on making new clientele here as well to build it up.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there anything else you would like to share with us at this point?
You want to share something?
No.
Just that we're very excited to to get this this big project of ours started, and we appreciate your concern about, of course, the safety of the kids and everything like that. And that's our big concern too. We have kids. My husband's a high school teacher here in Tuckahoe, so we totally understand that. And safety is always our first priority. So.
A couple other questions. How many teachers do you expect to have on the premises at any one time?
Well, it's a family business, so it'll be my husband, myself, and our son. Our son is 22.
Right.
He's also a black belt.
So three throughout the day, or a
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
cycling of different people at
Yeah,
different
different
of the day?
times, right.
Okay, so there'll be adults on the premises.
Yes, oh, always.
And are there restroom facilities that are available for use?
Yes, there is a restroom. There's one restroom, yes.
Okay. Anything, well, I guess you'd have a washroom. It's essentially a washroom.
Right, the bathroom, right.
Are you going to need lockers for changing into the costume?
No, actually, we're requiring, since it'll mostly be after-school classes, we're requiring that they come prepared and dressed already in their full uniform and jump right in.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Well, do we open to the public? We have a motion to open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make comment? There being no one from the public who would like to make comment, we will get a vote now to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And now we have.
I have the motion.
A motion.
Okay, this is SECRA resolution. Pursuant to the regulations of SECRA, this board finds that 1, the action taken herein is an unlisted action subject to the requirements of SECRA and its implementing regulations. 2, this board is in possession of all information reasonably necessary to make the determination as to the environmental significance of the proposed site plan application. 3, that the action taken herein shall not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and it is declared that a negative declaration is hereby adopted with regard to this action. Gary, you want us to take a vote on that?
Yeah,
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then for the resolution. The following is a resolution decision of the Planning Board of the Village of Tuckahoe, New York. Based on the submissions of the applicant and hearing the applicant at the work session and public hearing, this board has determined that the applicant has met the requirements of Section 7-1 of the zoning code. Therefore, the instant application for site plan is approved with the following condition. 1, the hours of operation shall be from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. 2, there shall be a minimum of 30 minutes between classes. 3, there shall be a maximum of 12 students per class. 4, adults dropping off children must legally park their vehicles and escort the child to the facility. The procedure for picking up shall be the same, where the adult must physically enter the facility to pick up the child. At no time shall the adult double park and allow the child to enter or exit the facility unattended. Failure to comply with any of these conditions shall be cause to revoke this approved site plan. Further, every representation of the applicant made in its application and presentation will be a condition of the approval board. Any deviation from the representations made shall be cause for the revocation of said approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Our next one is number 125 Columbus Avenue, site plan to add physical therapist office.
How are you guys?
We guys are good.
Okay.
Okay, so we went to the initial meeting, which was for the zoning, and we're proposing to have a physical therapist in our facility in an office that already exists. We're not gonna alter anything in regards to the facility the way it is currently. Everything's freestanding, and we're only gonna have the physical therapist there during the specific times of the day. And well, not that he's only there during specific times of the day, but he's going to be there during the time when he's only going to have one client and it's only one therapist who's going to be doing work. So in terms of construction of the site, in terms of anything that's being altered, it's all already there. It hasn't taken place.
Could you please identify yourself?
My name's Frank D'Agostino. I'm co-owner of Transform Fitness and Training.
Thank you. About the physical therapist, do you have a person in mind?
We've spoken to a few different people that we have in mind, but we don't have a set person yet.
Oh, you don't?
And this will be a licensed person.
He is licensed. The person that we have, there are two of the people that we are speaking with are both licensed physical therapists and have been in practice for quite some time now.
So it'd be by appointment only? If
It would be by
someone-
appointment, correct?
If someone needs physical therapy, physical therapist to help them.
Absolutely, correct.
They schedule it.
Yes.
Approximately, maybe you can't even answer this at this point, how many potential appointments per day do you think this physical therapist might have throughout the day?
Well, I'm not certain on how many he would have throughout the day, but there would only be one person booked for an hour or a half-hour appointment at a time. There won't be multiple people in the facility, and there's not going to be more than one physical therapist there as well. So it'll be one physical therapist, it'll be a one-on-one session, and there won't be multiple sessions, and there won't be multiple physical therapists.
Did you say what your hours of operation are yet?
Our hours of operation
Yeah.
for the gym, we open around 7, 8 a.m. in the morning, and we're open till about 9 p.m. at night.
What hours do you foresee the physical therapist occupying? Any time in that?
I would say
timeframe?
just based on history in terms of physical therapy and when people like to come in, I'd say be afternoons, and I wouldn't see anything past 6 or 7 o'clock at night, but I'm not certain, depending on when people come off the train or if, depending on the clientele as well, whether it was more of an elderly clientele, whether it's young kids who hurt themselves and need rehabilitation with sports, or whether it's people who are coming right off the train from work.
Okay, at the risk of asking a really self-answered question, we're not going to have a parking issue with this, are we? I'm not envisioning a parking issue because you're adding 2 people at a time, is what you're telling me.
Currently, right now, the way our facility is set up, we do have an adequate amount of parking, and you guys were also nice enough to change the meters in front of our building for a span from 10-hour parking to 2-hour parking, which then allows the idea that people won't park there throughout the day. So we have a lot of transitioning traffic. Also, many of our sessions are only 1 hour at a time or a half hour, so there's a constant circulation.
Right.
And beyond that, we don't have a parking issue yet. I mean, there's many spots open throughout the day. We'd like to eventually fill them and have more members, but it's not something that is an issue as of yet.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair, just, Mr. D'Agostino is correct. He was before the zoning board last week. They're operating under a special permit. They looked to amend that special permit to add the physical therapist, and that was approved last week by the zoning board. So now he's before you for site plan for this physical therapist.
Very good. Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
No, well,
Okay.
Public hearing?
Yeah, public hearing.
Madam Chair, you need to open the public hearing.
Emmerich, we
Yeah,
need to open the
open.
public
It's you.
hearing.
yes, okay. Do we have a motion to open public hearing?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, second.
And
All in
I'll be the-
favor?
I'll be the second. Aye, in favor.
Okay. All right, would you like to read?
That's the public hearing.
Yes, we are going to have our public hearing. Do we have that is the motion to have the public hearing. So, is there anyone in the public who would like to make comment? There being no one from the public who would like to make comment, do we have a motion to end the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good
I
luck.
just have a question, Gary. We're talking here about adding a staff person, a staff member, a body, frankly, to the facility, right? Your array of employees, shall we say. How is that a site plan issue?
Well, I believe it's a different use, and Mr. Williams made that determination, so he wanted to send it back to both boards just to get the blessing of the boards, but it's a change of use
So the
from a gym
therapist
to a
is
therapist.
Yeah, okay, all right. So it focuses on their license and their function and their purpose.
That's correct.
Which is different than the function
Of a gym.
that exists currently.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Are we up to the planning board
No, we're-
resolution, the secret here?
Yes.
Because I'm ready to read it.
Yes, we
All
are.
righty, we have a secret resolution for the 125 Columbus Avenue facility Transform Fitness. The project is described as adding the services of a physical therapist to the existing fitness and health center. Secret resolution. Pursuant to the regulations of SECRA, this board finds that, 1, the action taken herein is an unlisted action subject to the requirements of SECRA and its implementing regulations. 2, this board is in possession of all information reasonably necessary to make the determination as to the environmental significance of the proposed site plan application. 3, that the action taken herein shall not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and it is declared that a negative declaration is hereby adopted with regard to this action.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
The resolution concerning the decision of the Planning Board of the Village of Tuckahoe as relates to the project application at 125 Columbus Avenue, Transform Fitness. Based on the submissions of the applicant and hearing the applicant at the public hearing, it is determined that the applicant has complied with Section 7-1 of the zoning code. Thus, this application is approved. The addition of adding a physical therapist's services will have no substantial impact to the operations of the existing fitness and health center. The conditions include that there shall be only one physical therapist providing services in the facility at any given time.
Okay.
The end of the resolution.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good luck
Thank you
to
very much. Thank you
Welcome.
for your time and consideration.
Yep.
Okay. And now we have 8 Marbledale Road, site plan for convenience store addition to main building.
Good evening. My name is Tiro Interanti. I'm the architect for the project. We were here last month and also at some work sessions. And there were a few comments that were made. I'd like to go over them. At the last work session, was decided that we should reopen this curb cut, which we decided at the last meeting not to use that option. So the curb cut is opened again with the idea being that if a person purchased gasoline and did not want to get a car wash, they could exit onto Marbledale Road more conveniently. At the last meeting, it was decided that we should remove these parking spaces, but that at the work session, it was decided that we should put the parking spaces back in, and they are of the appropriate size based on information from the building inspector. We reorganized the parking near the air pump and the vacuums, and we feel that this is a better arrangement for the people to park there, and also a room to get past them and to get to the fuel pumps and also the car wash. We've also moved the location of the handicap stall from this end of the line of parking to the end closest to the proposed curb cut. We were asked by the building inspector to evaluate the requirement for handicap bathrooms, and I've done that and submitted to the building inspector. I believe that was okay with the building inspector. We're also asked to forward this drawing to the fire marshal, which we did. I was in correspondence with the fire marshal. He referred me to a certain section of the fire code. I did the evaluation on that, submitted it back to him, and I believe he's okay with that. And I've asked him in my letter if he was okay with that to forward his okay to the board. And
You haven't received the letter.
okay, well, let me give you the letter. Mr. Pintavalli was his name, spoke to him over the phone. Basically, his concern was the distance between the fuel pumps and the building. He referred me to section, I believe it was 2600 something in the fire code. So I went through the evaluation, sent that to him, and in my last sentence, I asked that if he was okay with it, to forward his information to the planning board, but didn't know that he didn't do that.
Yeah. Mhm.
This is from the architect to the...
The microphone, yeah.
This is from the architect to the fire department, but I haven't received a response back.
You have no formal response
Yeah.
from the fire?
I have not seen one, no.
No, okay.
Do you want me to read that letter? Do you want to read it to the board?
No, we'll
Well,
just,
we really need to get a response,
Well-
because, and to be able to review it before we meet with you. This is unfortunate.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. He's the fire marshal, sent it to him, we did the review. Don't know where that puts us.
It's a formality, and I think it's an important formality. I'm not suggesting that you're misrepresenting as much as I accept that you are relaying what you believe to be his position, but I think this board needs to see it in a written format.
Well,
or
typically,
some acceptable communication with the building inspector that's a little bit more formalized than your assertions, which I believe, but it's frankly not formal enough.
well,
We really need something in
typically-
writing to.
Typically, as part of the circulation, the planning board circulates the drawings, which I was asked to do, which I did correspond with the fire marshal. He approved it. Can we make the correspondence from him a condition of the approval? So that we can hopefully get
think we've
final
ever
approval
done that
tonight.
before, have
Gary,
we?
you think that's possible?
I don't think we have a precedent set for that, do we?
No, it could be a condition.
Condition.
But if the board's inclined to approve it on all the other issues,
Do you have a letter? What do you have, sir, from the
This.
fire marshal?
I have,
Yes.
I spoke to him over the phone. Took quite a while to get through to him, but I eventually did. And he referred me to the section, I think it's 2206 or something of the New York State Fire Code, which I evaluated. His concern was the distance from the fuel pumps to the building, which they would have compiled or they would have complied with when they built the pumps. So that, because that fire code was in effect. So they complied with the code when they built the pumps. What he's asked for is just to basically re-verify that.
He has
which
not
we've
seen
done.
the plans, though.
Yes, he has. I sent
He
it to him.
has seen the plan.
He has.
Well, let me ask you a couple of other things, or ask
Yeah,
Bill.
we can go through all the other.
The distance between the cars parked along the street side, can you point to
Right
that?
here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the building, are they appropriate for someone passing by if there are cars parked there?
I don't know what the distance is, I haven't,
the width requirement for the parking stall was 9 feet, based on what you told me. So we made that, and we have about 8 feet, 8 inches of space left for a car to travel through there.
But here's my question. If they're coming in
Right
towards
here.
the top, and then they're coming out towards the bottom,
Coming
is there any reason in the world that they would go down that road, that
No, that's
side of the
why-
building?
That's why we've opened this
Right.
curb cut. So that if it-
So that doesn't even matter the distance, because it's big enough for as many parking spots as even trucks could fit in there parking
They
at that
could,
point.
yes.
So there's only going to be, there's two ways going in there, and the car wash people come out there, correct?
Yes, they go around this way, get in the queuing lane for the car wash, they come through the car wash and exit here.
Right,
So the only reason why anyone would come down here was if they were gonna park.
Right.
And probably this would be an ideal space for employee parking.
And the other side is an exit only, correct?
Right here is exit only.
Okay.
And what about the other parking spaces near the other entrance?
These are for the vacuum pumps.
Right.
So if a person decided to like go through the car wash and then pull in here and vacuum their car, they would use the vacuum, back up, circulate back around and exit.
And where is the handicap?
Handicap is right here.
Is right at the end.
Yes.
One handicap.
One handicap spot.
Is
So
that enough,
You're
Bill?
forcing the handicapped person to drive around through the entire site, basically, to park.
Right here.
And then how do they get into the building?
And they go out and they come around this way into the building.
It's the closest one to the building entrance.
Yeah. Could I ask you, typically if there's a backup in the car wash line, how does that work? I mean, right now, there are a couple cars could line up in that?
You have how often do you have a backup of cars? Close to the retaining wall?
It goes near the pumps?
It goes on the outer side here. They line up along this retaining wall and come around and into the car wash.
That's typical.
What's the dimensions of that addition you're building?
It's 8 feet by 48 feet.
It goes beyond, have you been in that?
I use it
Yeah,
fairly regularly.
yeah, so do I. But it goes well beyond the entrance into the car wash, because you can see.
No, the car wash entrance is here, this curb. This is a curbed island, which most of this is going to stay. The person has to come around this island to get into the car wash. We chalked it out on the pavement. It's not going to interfere with the flow of the car wash.
If I might go back to the letter dated April 29 to Mr. Pintavalli from the architect here. It's a condition. If you find this letter, referring to the April 29, 2016 letter to Mr. Pintavalli from Mr. Interrante, there's a condition in the last paragraph, basically. If you find this letter acceptable, would you kindly send a response to the Tuckahoe Planning Board? The Tuckahoe Planning Board hasn't gotten a response, and that's the condition that hasn't yet been fulfilled. And like I said, I'm perfectly prepared to believe you, but we didn't get a response.
If we go through the rest of this, including the colors and so on, and everything, and the board finds everything else acceptable, and they've possibly maybe even have a resolution prepared for tonight's meeting, we could just add that to the resolution and make it a condition for final approval, couldn't we?
That would be up to the board, because if they don't get the letter from the fire department, your resolution's no good.
Right,
It's conditioned
it's
upon that,
void.
but that's up to the board. I don't know if the board's comfortable with that.
I'm okay with doing that. I would put in at least minimum of 14 business days. It must be received within 14 or 21 business days, something to that effect.
Well, yeah, it's up to the board. But again, we're relying on somebody who's not here and that the applicant doesn't have much control over, so.
I understand, that's why I extended it a little
I
longer.
think that's a good approach.
It took 3
I'm
phone
okay with
calls
it, too.
over 4 or 5
It
days.
says contacted, please respond to the Tuckahoe Planning Board. If Mr. Pintavalli calls up Mr. Williams and Mr. Williams believes it's Mr. Pintavalli and says, yeah, this is the communication, I'm fine with that.
I'd rather see it in writing.
But,
All right.
in other townships that I've been to, the circulation to the different agencies is all done through the planning board. So, isn't that customary, Gary?
We make it available, but to help speed up your application, we asked you to drop it off.
Which I did, which I
Right.
did.
But if you wanted, I could have waited, and in about 4 or 5 weeks, he would have stopped in and would have picked up your drawing. We have the same problem getting in touch with the fire department as you do.
We're here to cooperate
They're
any way
very
we
busy,
can.
and
I
it's hard for them to
understand
get
that.
down.
Built in a good option. I think we've built in we're willing to build in a good option, 21 days. Chair wishes a written response, and that works for me. Does it work for everyone else?
Yes.
That works for me.
I just would
Can I
like,
get a copy of that resolution when it's written that way so that I can
You wanna
email
take
it
this
to
back and
him
just
and just
include
let
that
him
in,
know
and
the
I'll ask
urgency
Bill
of the
this
situation?
yeah, just, could you give this to him, but I want to ask you, what is the distance between the car parked along the street there and the building?
It's 8 feet 8 inches.
8 feet 8 inches from the car door.
No, from the paint on the paint on the pavement, which indicates that parking stall. The code requires 9 feet wide. I believe it was 18 feet, Bill? The parking stall was 9 by
18, yes.
I've made these 9 by 20, which is a little bit longer. It gives the,
Have 9 full feet there, so
Yes.
the car could pass by. My concern is that if you have a truck come in,
uh-huh.
that they can pass through and there won't be problems trying to wiggle.
It's only, the only reason for a car to come through here would be with the intention to park in one of these stalls. If a person finished his business, purchased gasoline, and wasn't interested in going through the car wash, they would exit at this curb opening.
So you're basically saying you're forcing a change in behavior. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you are.
Well, yeah, once this is open and people become accustomed to using that, they would use it. We could even encourage them with a sign or something.
Yeah.
Put a sign that says, exit here, please, whatever.
I think you would have to.
And I
right?
actually think it's a better place to exit because of the
It
light.
is.
It is.
Yeah, because you're exiting not,
Even though somebody-
sometimes the cars
Right.
back up at this intersection. Now you're exiting further down the street and getting,
I
and
think
have a
that's-
chance to get in line to get out
I
at the
think it's
intersection.
100% better.
I agree with you.
Opening the curb cut,
One of the
just,
questions is, when you get a gas delivery, how do people get in and out?
I don't know how the gas delivery is done.
Oh, it's done, we know where they're at, it's done before you open.
Oh.
Oh, that's good.
Did you have a question, sir?
no, I was just reiterating that the opening the curb cut that's closed right now is just logistically makes it,
Yes.
just
That would
it
also
works.
need to be a condition of the board, because this board, it's not in their purview to grant the curb cuts. It would have to be Mr. DeMarco, Mr. Williams signs off, and I believe the chief of police needs to sign off on it. So that would have to be a condition also, because again,
Is it something,
Is it an existing curb cut already?
it is.
I went by and looked, it does not look like an existing
No,
curb
no, it
cut, it looks
doesn't.
like it just collapsed within itself a little bit.
No, it was a curb cut when we built the car wash about 12 years ago. And that's, remember we discussed this at the meeting, a couple weeks ago. What happened was, we built this car wash 12 years ago. It was originally built 30 or 40 years ago. Then we rebuilt it, and so when the construction vehicles were on the site and the gas station was still open, that's where the cars were exiting.
I see.
And it was a curb cut, you could see that. It was.
So can we consider it an existing curb cut, or do we have to go further?
There's a curve there now, but you can see that.
A depression?
I think at this point, they're still gonna need to get DPW's blessing and also the building department and chief of police. So you wanna, is that how they go through the curb
Yes.
cut? They file a permit with
With the
DPW?
clerk's office, yep.
With the clerk's office,
So
gets
that would
approved.
have to be done before they can,
Well, this board can make it a condition that they receive that approval. I'll write it in.
yeah, right, you did, okay.
Is that,
So can we have it so we can read? Oh, okay.
is
Just a
that
minute.
part of the building permit application? Okay, and that's with the DPW? And you mentioned someone else besides Gary? The DPW and someone else?
Takes the application, and then myself and the police chief sign off on it.
Okay. Where do I pick up that application?
Clerk's office.
Thank you.
I still have a question. I just don't get this.
Would the board like to discuss the colors?
I would like to, once again, try to understand this flow of customers, because you're creating an opportunity for persons to stop their cars, get out of their cars, and go to the little facility to purchase some item. And where are they going to be stopping those cars? At the risk of
Well,
asking the
typically, when a person comes in to get gasoline, it's required by law that they turn off their engine. So basically, their car effectively is parked at the pump. When they're finished purchasing the gasoline, that's when they come in either to pay for the gasoline or pick up any items in the convenience
So
area.
your projection is that it is only the persons who are parked and accessing the gas pumps who are going to be dashing into this little facility to purchase something?
I would say for the majority of the people, yes.
And that's not going to slow up the
No, there's,
the actual payment for the gasoline and the movement of those vehicles out once they're done?
no, I don't see that it would hold it up all that much or hardly at all, because people are parking their car to get gasoline anyway. And if they're going to pay with cash, they would come in to make the payment. That's at that point in time is when they would make a purchase of a merchandise item or a convenience store item. If they're paying at the pump, they pay at the pump, they're finished pumping their gas, they get in the car and they leave.
Okay, let me ask another question, because I'm really not understanding this. You already have a paying portion of that building. In other words, I know that I go up to the window, the drawer is, pushed out, I put my money in the drawer, push it back in. That whole area where that person, stands there and takes the money and makes the change, is that area going to be dedicated to this purchasing facility? I can't even think of what they're called, a little store?
Yes, it's going to be part of it.
That's going to be part of it. How-
Where you make, where that sliding drawer is now,
Uh-huh.
actually is going to get moved to this end of the addition. That's where the control center, if you will, is going to be to control the payment for the car wash and to make a payment for purchases inside the store.
But the customer's going to be able to go into the store, correct?
Yes, yes.
And so
Here's
you're
the-
going to have a window that allows a person who wants to purchase only gasoline to use a little drawer, so to speak,
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
And you're also going to have a door through which someone else who may want to purchase something and happen to also pay for their gasoline inside the store
Mhm.
and then run back out?
Yes.
So you're going to have two ways of paying, one
Yes.
for gas only, so to speak, and one for anything else you want to purchase.
Correct.
And the gas.
Yes.
Okay. I'm still not.
If you look at this floor plan, you can see this is the door to come into the facility. This is where the transaction would take place.
Mhm.
This is display area for merchandise, as well as a little bit in the front. So a person would come in, pick up their merchandise, come here, pay, and then exit back out the door.
There's no exit to that driveway with.
No, this is a solid wall.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be any interference between cars from the car wash and pedestrian people.
So you're basically going to extend what already exists there, which is sitting right beside, as I understand it, the car wash facility, and you're gonna extend that further out, further down, further, actually, it's north, going in
Yes.
that direction?
Yes.
And because I keep looking at the pink on your
Right.
plan, and I can't tell if the pink is an addition to the existing building, or if the pink incorporates part of the existing
No,
building.
the pink indicates the addition. The existing building is here.
Right.
Point out the elevation at the bottom. All the way at the bottom of the.
So this is what it would look like from Marbledale Road. Okay, this is the back side of the addition. It'd be brick veneer and limestone inlaid panels. Looking at it from north, looking south, you'd see this overhead door, which is the entrance to the car wash, and this end, the 8-foot end of the addition. And looking at it, if you were standing at a pump looking towards the addition, this is what you would see. This is the limit of the existing building right here, and this is the addition. And there's the entrance door into the addition.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions on the materials?
Yes.
Pardon?
You said you had samples?
Right here.
Okay.
We showed these the last time we were here, which was the aluminum frame for the window, the trim for the building, the brick veneer, which we showed last time. There was a comment made about breaking up this expanse of brick with something, and we were proposing a 4-foot by 4-foot limestone panel, 3 of them equally spaced on that side of the building.
Where the windows are? Where are you going to put them?
Pardon? No. This is a window at the end of the addition to look at the cars that are queuing up for the car wash, and these are these limestone panels.
Oh, okay, I thought they were windows.
No, no. This is a window, these are the panels.
And they're having just a panel.
Well, it's limestone to break up the expanse of brick, which was a comment that was made last time we were here.
Right, I understand. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I will read a motion.
Well, Madam Chair, I think the public hearing's still open. I don't believe you closed it last time, so you may want to ask if there's anyone for the public here. If not, then you would need to close the public hearing before you make a motion.
Okay. So we will make a motion to open the public hearing. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone here who would like to make comment? Anyone from the public? There not being anyone here who would like to make comment, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Not aye?
Aye.
Aye, okay, I thought I was gonna say that. Okay, all righty. The action taken herein is an unlisted action subject to the requirements of seeker and its implementing regulations. The board is in possession of all information reasonably necessary to make the determination as to the environmental significance of the proposed site plan application. That the action taken herein shall not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and it is declared that a negative declaration is hereby adopted with regard to this action. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I am not in favor of
Okay.
this.
Okay.
I am opposed.
Okay. The following is the resolution decision of the Planning Architectural Review Board of the Village of Tuckahoe, New York. Through the submission of the applicant and hearing the applicant at the work session and the public hearings, the applicant has demonstrated that it has met their burden as to the requirements of 7-1 of the Village of Tuckahoe zoning code. Therefore, the application for the site plan is approved with these conditions. Number 1, that within 21 days of the date of this resolution, the applicant procure a letter from the fire department that the fire department is satisfied with the proposal, with what is proposed. 2, the applicant receive approval from the Department of Public Works, Building Inspector, and Chief of Police for the proposals, for the proposed curb cut. Every representation of the applicant made in its application and presentation will be a condition of the approval board. Any deviation from the representations made shall be cause for the revocation of such approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Commissioner Nierenberg,
Four.
Commissioner Barra,
Four.
Commissioner Caliano,
I am opposed, and just for the record, I want to indicate my reason for opposition is that I believe that this project will add to the congestion at the corner of Marbledale and Main Street. I appreciate the applicant's concern and interest and right to amplify and modify their parcel in a way that suits their economic needs. However, I sit as a planning board member, and my concern has to be for the circulation of traffic and the convenience and safety of pedestrians, and for those reasons, I do oppose.
Commissioner Gorman,
4.
Chairwoman Chairmella.
4. It's passed. Good luck to you. We look forward to receiving of the information necessary.
Is it possible for me to leave with a copy of that resolution tonight so that I can pursue the fire marshal to reply? No? How do I get a copy of the resolution?
It'll be filed
Tomorrow?
at the clerk's office tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll have the chair sign it and then file it tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much.
You. Okay. I move that we close the planning board meeting for.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening.